Shanti to everyone. So let's begin today's session. Yeah. So let's just open the class with chanting. So just make sure that your back and neck are straight. Eyes are gently closed. Start observing the breath. Just observe the natural flow of the breath as you inhale and as you exhale. Keep the body relaxed. The spine will remain straight. Face should be relaxed. Neck and shoulders should be relaxed. And now slowly begin to deepen your breath. Slowly long inhalations. Slowly long exhalations. Clearing the mind for chanting. Deeply for Om. Let's chant the Shanti mantra. Sarve still. Shanti. Shanti. Just feel the vibrations. Join both the palms together. Just not the palms. Fix them on the eyes. Very slowly open it. and looking at the palm. So open up your eyes, come back to the smile. Session. So yesterday we talked about Patanjali Yoga Sutra, a very important text when you come to yoga philosophy. And today we are going to discuss about Hatha Yoga. You know, you have been studying. You have two classes, your asana and your alignment class. And all of these are about, and even your pranayama class. So these are three classes that you have, and they are Hatha yogic practices, and now a lot of variations are going on. So you're already practicing a lot of Hatha yogic practices, but you are doing variations as time changed. Modern gurus came in and gave their variations. So the foundation of all these practices is Hatha yoga. So it's very important for us to understand what Hatha yoga is, what it means, and why it is relevant. What is the goal you have to keep in mind whenever you are doing asanas, right? Whenever you are doing pranayama, you're not merely looking for the benefit that that practice is going to give you, like the instant benefit, right? You are aiming for a very long-term goal, and a proper understanding of that will come from understanding first Hatha Yoga. The foundation of all your practices, most of your practices, the foundation is Hatha Yoga. And then when you come to your meditation practices, that is when part of Raj Yoga starts mixing, right? And right now, what you are practicing in asana and pranayama is Hatha yoga. So Patanjali ji also gave, asana. He also mentioned pranayama, but he had very different meanings of these terms, and those we will discuss when I discuss Ashtanga yoga with you. However, for now, the majority of the world is practicing variations of Hatha yoga. So an understanding of that is quite necessary. Right? So let me just share my screen so that you do not miss out on anything. 𝐻𝐴TH. Yeah, so you are practicing variation of this. So first let's understand the word itself, Hatha. So this is her. You need to just see the split. So this is actually sun. I can say Pingla Nadi. I will explain this. So right side. Then we have Tha, which is moon. This is your branch. So this is the division where Ha means sun, Pingla Nadi, right side, so right nostril. And then we also have this Pran Shakti, which is represented by Ha. And then we have Tha, moon, Ida Nadi, the left side, or Manas Shakti. Just note this down another. Go ahead, explain these things. Why this, the name itself will tell you what the aim of the practice is. So I'll begin that. So her means the sun energy. Sun is connected with the activation, right? Whenever the sun comes up, you will see, human beings, we wake up. Most creatures, they wake up at this point of time when the sun rises, and then we begin our day-to-day activities, right? So activation, the quality of activation of that energy in the body, where you are, able to work and you are able to uh, do more of physical activity, right? Is actually what you mean when we refer to the sun, to the qualities. And I will touch upon this, and I have already touched upon this in the pranayam class also. But once again, nadis are subtle energy channels in the body. So if you scan your body, you will not be able to go for a normal scan, and you won't be able to see nadis. Why? Because these are energy channels in the body, like your arteries and veins are present. In that same way, there is some energetic force inside of you, right? And that also travels in these energy channels called nadis. And in the pranayam classes, again, I have explained this thing where I told you that there are 72,000 nadis, right? 36,000 on one side and 36,000 on the other side. So a total of 72,000 nadis are present in the body, out of which 3 are uh, considered to be major nadis. So one of them is Pingla Nadi. Pingla Nadi is mostly, connected with, once again, the activation in the body, the activation of the sympathetic nervous system, right? The nervous system which is responsible for fight and flight mode. So that part of the body, whenever your right nostril is working, that is the portion of the body which is activated. Again, it is connected to the Pran Shakti. So the right nostril and the Pran Shakti of the body. Right? Then one is this, energy which gives us, everyday tasks that we do. There is some force behind it. So whenever this gets activated, you will see you are very active. You have woken up mostly, and like you practice asana, so you feel some energy inside of you, and then you go for relaxation. So the energy that you feel inside of you is her part, and then when you go for relaxation, that is her part. So tha means the moon's qualities of the moon, right? So very, uh, relaxation. It's a very relaxative. Moon has a very, if you look at the moon also, it gives a lot of peace and calm, right? Because it triggers some relaxation inside of you. So the quality of the moon. Another major nadi of the body, which is Ida nadi, is represented by the tha part in Hatha. And this is the left nostril basically. Left nostril, when it works, your parasympathetic nervous system. This gets activated. So this induces a lot of relaxation in the body. So we'll see, just before you fall asleep, your left nostril starts working, because that is the part of the system which is actually taking you into relaxation. And again, this is connected with the mental energy that you have inside of you, right? So you know how your breath, the change in the state of mind changes the breath. You must have heard of this. Even in pranayama classes, we have discussed this again and again, how the breathing changes the state of the mind, and vice versa is also true. How your state of mind changes because, how your breath changes because of the state of mind, right? So same thing is happening. Why Hatha Yoga came into existence was to balance these both energies out, right? So when your prana moves, your mind also moves. This also we discussed in pranayama classes. So whenever the breath will move, mind will move, mind moves, breath will move. Okay. So pran and man, these two, your prana and your mind, these two are very closely interlinked. And this is what the yogis observed when they were, going into very deep sadhana. They observed that the mind and the breath were very closely connected, and hence pranayama practices, you will see, when they shift the when they work on the flow of the prana, the mind also somewhere calms down, soothes down, or you are able to, get it into more relaxation. Then you go for pranayama. Either you go into more relaxation, or you can also use some techniques to activate yourself. So using the breath, the state of the mind can be changed, right? So Hatha Yoga came up as a practice which actually balanced the mental and the pranic forces in the body, so that all the energy could be directed towards your spiritual growth, right? So then comes the next major nadi, which is Sushumna nadi. This is the central nadi, right? So when balance in the ha and tha, balance in both the nostrils is established, that is when the Sushumna nadi gets activated. And this is the most important nadi for a yogi. Why? Because the yogi, all the practices that the yogi is doing, a Hatha yogi especially, is doing, is to activate the Sushumna nadi. And it only happens when the energy balances. And when the Sushumna nadi is activated, that is when you are able to, advance in your spiritual journey. When the flow of the energy goes up. So directing the force of the energy upwards through the Sushumna Nadi is the goal of a spiritual aspirant. Okay. So Sushumna Nadi, Ida Nadi and Pinna Nadi, why are they so important? There are 72,000 nadis in the body, right? So why these three? Because they are located along your spine. That is why in meditation also, whenever your map tells you to sit up straight, it is very important that you sit up straight. Why do they say back and neck straight? Because it is your entire spine, and the subtle energy channels along your spine have to be aligned properly so that the energy can flow properly, right? So during the day, you will notice for most of us, either one nostril is working or the other one is working, right? And they switch also. So even if both are working, you will see one is more dominant. So that part of your being becomes more dominant. Sometimes you are really lost in thoughts, right? That is when you will observe that the Ida Nadi is more active at that point of time, right? So the nadis also switch, and around, it is said around every 90 minutes there is a switch in both the nadis, right? From Ida to Pingla, then from Ida to Pingla, and then from Pingla to Ida, yeah, every 1.5 hour, around, about every 1.5 hour there is a switch. And when this switch takes place, in between, Sushumna Nadi gets activated just for a few seconds. So when both the nostrils work equally, they are with equal force, inhalation and exhalation is taking place at that point of time. So even for a common person, the Sushumna Nadi gets activated. However, the spiritual aspirant targets to, has the target to increase the time of the activation of the Sushumna Nadi for a longer period of time. And Sushumna Nadi gets activated when these two nadis, balance out. Okay. So that is why you would have seen this diagram. I will just stop sharing the screen and come back sharing the screen. That is why in a lot of places you would have seen this diagram. This straight line, right? And then we have this thing going on. I'm not making the entire diagram, but excuse my drawing. This continues, this pattern, right? And this is a major point. Again, another junction point. Right? These are all the junction points. So likewise, there are 7 junction points that we call the 7 chakras. You would have heard of the 7 major chakras, the talk of chakras. So this is my right side. So I will this is left. This is the central one. This is the junction. Which is also called chakra. Wait. Let me just erase this. This junction is what is called a chakra. Right? So, this junction is called a chakra. So the major nadis, when they intersect with the Sushumna nadi, this is the Sushumna nadi. When they intersect with the Sushumna nadi, that is when the major chakra is formed. You would have heard of the root chakra, then solar plexus chakra, all of these names, heart chakra. So what is happening is, this is actually the human spine, so human anatomically, this is the human spine, and along the human spine, this central nadi is the Sushumna nadi, and right and left. So one is Pinda nadi, one is Ida nadi, and where they intersect with the Sushumna nadi, that is the major chakra that is formed in the body. And the entire concept, even in Tantra Yoga, when you go in Tantra Yoga, you will read that Shiv and Shakti meeting. That point is called a yoga. So you would have heard of, Kundalini. Kundalini Shakti. So this is said to be in the root chakra, Muladhara chakra, and it is, in a dormant state, sleeping state, in this area of the body, right, at the root chakra. And when this awakens, this passes through the Sushumna nadi, right? So this energy, which is right now dormant in all of us, is actually, when it awakens, it travels neither through the Ida nor through the Pingla. It will travel through the Sushumna nadi. Straight from here, it will go up. And the last chakra, the crown chakra, when the energy rises and meets that point, that is when, according to Tantra Yoga, a person has attained enlightenment, right? So hence the Sushumna nadi and the activation of the Sushumna nadi is considered to be very important. Why? Because the spiritual energy is going to travel only through the Sushumna nadi, the central nadi, right? Crossing each and every chakra, it's going to move up and reach the final point of your crown chakra, right? So when this has to take place, these two again they need to be balanced. That is why, Hatha Yoga came into existence, where the Ida and Pingla Nadi were put into balance. So I'll just stop sharing this. Any doubt in this? In this chakra and any of these things that I have explained? No? Okay. So you must have seen this diagram also when you go to homeopathic doctors, especially, you would have seen it there.
One doubt, please. The left and right side, is it like nerves going on both sides? So, or is it just the body part, whole of the body part?
So these are not nerves. When I talk of nadis, they are actually energy channels. Like we have arteries and veins which carry blood.
Yeah.
So those you can see if you get yourself scanned. However, when you get yourself like go through a normal scan, you will not be able to see the nadis because they are again like your arteries and veins only, but they are subtle energy channels, right? So I just explained anatomically so that you can understand the placement when we talk of the chakras also, and why is spine given so much relevance, right? But these
Okay.
are subtle energy channels.
So like Pingala and Ida are located on each sides of the body. It's like full, like if it's left, it's full of the left. It's a how?
See, that is what I'm saying. This is your Ida Nadi which is going, but it is crisscrossing. You see,
Okay.
this is the Ida Nadi going like this. So
Right.
it has this shape.
Okay.
Basically, this is how it travels. So when it meets the Sushumna Nadi, that is why it's able to meet. If it would have gone straight up, it would not have met, the Sushumna Nadi. So when this crosses, this is the your Ida Nadi traveling, and same goes for Pingla. This is how it is
o-
placed.
Okay. So this is said about the junctions. Is that the spine, like, each spinal cord, like each round things, is that the junction, or is there is nothing like that? We can't really see.
Not like, no, we cannot see this. These are energy points that are there. When you talk of chakras, they are actually energy where few nadis meet.
Okay.
So when these three nadis meet, the major chakras are formed, even though you have a lot of chakras in the body, but
Okay.
when the major ones meet, then this chakra is formed. So you
Okay.
cannot see it, though you can feel it. If you go into very deep meditation, there will come a point where you will be able to understand these things much better.
Okay. So you said like for Pingala Nadi, it's like a flight and fright, uh, which controls the flight and fright response. So so what about the Ida Nadi? Is that the relaxation part?
Yeah, it's a relaxation.
So anxiety and relaxation, it's like stress and relaxation, that kind of thing.
Not exactly stress and relaxation, but if you read about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, so one is more connected to when we are active, do all the activities during the day, and one is connected to the relaxation mode. So more like that, I wouldn't say stress and relaxation, more like the different functions that you do during the day. It's divided between those two things.
So do you think like the people who experience like anxiety and stress, are they not activating the Pingala Nadi properly, or
Their Pingla Nadi is overactive because,
overact?
yeah,
Okay.
and they need to balance it out by, they have difficulty switching back to the, you know, Ida Nadi once again. So they
Right.
need
Okay.
to balance that out, do that thing, do those practices which activate that portion of the body.
So normally, like when if it's like overactive, is it because like they are doing more action or less action, or what is the physical point of it?
So sometimes, see, your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system both are important for your existence, right? Both are necessary. However, sometimes what happens is we get stressed, and even after that stressful situation has passed, we are still in stress. Our body, our mind is still in stress. So that is what is happening. Like, even though sympathetic nervous system needed to be activated at that point of time, but even after it is like the situation has passed and it hasn't, like it's not required now, you are not able to come back into relaxation again. So that is what is going on with most of us. Like sometimes we get too stressed, and even after that stressful situation is now not there with us, it has a grip on our on us, right? So
Okay.
that is when you go for balancing practices. So you need to come back to the normal life, come in sync with the normal switching back of the parasympathetic nervous system. Both
Is
will.
that by breath? Is it just by breath, or is there other way?
Other ways are also there, not just by breath,
Oh,
but breath is a quick way for you to come back.
okay, okay. So if like for, I'm sorry, I'm asking lots of questions. You know, for children, they might not understand the breath. If we teach them like breath, they might not understand. So what will be the quick uh, way to calm them down?
Calm children down.
Not really children. For example, like if it's like autistic child, like slightly autistic child, he might not understand the breathing technique that much. So what will be the best way to calm that down for that child, like, you know, for a mother?
Okay, so even though this is not a topic of your philosophy class, it's mostly a therapy question. So for this, for autistic kids, there is separate yoga therapy. So they have a set of practices which help them, right? So like very easy thing for someone who has autism is to introduce a mantra. So that when you do mantra meditation in your meditation classes, go ahead and like their ma'am will explain, I think in detail about
Okay, okay.
mantras and all of these things. So for autistic kids, like rather than making them understand all of these things, you can, it's easy to give them a word.
Okay, thank you.
So be regular in the meditation classes. You will, ma'am will tell you a lot of things about it.
Thank you, thank you. I just started today, sorry.
No worries, no worries. These are actually, for separate diseases, there are separate protocols, and that is a part of your therapy. So when
Okay,
you do, Ayurveda and yoga therapy classes, that is when these things you can discuss more of these things over there, because then directly it's going to get connected. Right?
okay, thank you.
So yeah. So coming back, any doubts for anybody else in this entire concept? Okay, great. So let's come back to Hatha Yoga, right? So now you understand what are you trying to do when you are practicing Hatha Yoga. What you're actually trying to do is, and even Hatha Yogi, what the Hatha Yogi tries to do is to prepare the body so that when the Sushumna Nadi gets activated, the body needs to be ready. Otherwise, it's going to be very big problem for you, right? Because when your body is not ready and energy in the body is very high, sometimes that happens, no? So we're not capable of containing it. So we need to prepare the container, and that is what Hatha Yoga is mostly about, preparing the container. And you will see Hatha Yoga generally starts with the practice of either Shatkarma or Asana, right? Most texts of Hatha Yoga that you will see, they will start with Shatkarma or Asana, right? This is a cleansing practice. So either you clean the body first, and then, or in some texts you will see directly asanas have been mentioned. So postures. And posture how? Bringing stability in the posture. So when you go to Hatha Yoga text, you will see mostly they start with asana, where you work on the body, right? Make the posture stable. Then you work on the prana, so pranayama. Then you work with locking the energy in the body, so mudras and bandhas. These things, these are Hatha Yoga practices. You will see Hatha Yoga generally does not start with your, yama and niyama. It starts with Shatkarma or Asana. It doesn't start with Yama and Niyama. Yama and Niyama are the first two limbs that were given in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So these are basically rules. Very simply put, these are rules. These are disciplines. These are mental attitudes which you need to incorporate before you step into the practice of Raj Yoga. That is why Raj Yoga is considered to be a very advanced level practice. Even a beginner in Raj Yoga is already established on a lot of levels. So it's a very like advanced level practice. And when we study yamas and niyamas in detail, you will see that they are mental uh, attitudes of people. How one thing tells you how you have to exist in the society, and one tells you how you have to conduct your own self, something that you're doing for your own self, like satisfaction. One of the niyama is satisfaction, santosh. So you need to lead a life that involves satisfaction, and satisfaction is a mental thing, right? If I have everything right now and I'm not satisfied, then there is no point of having everything. And some people you will see they have nothing, but they are so satisfied. Like mine is so satisfied with whatever they have, right? So you cannot force this. You understand, when I'm talking of niyama, also when I'm talking of contentment or satisfaction, you cannot force it. It is something that cannot be forced. It's just sometimes the mind is satisfied. And that is why Raj Yogi like is advanced level student only generally. They are established in other things. So they first work on controlling the mind. However, as the time passed, it was seen that all of these yamas and niyamas, what they were doing was they were causing more harm than good. Because as the time progressed, when I covered history and development of yoga, also I said that practices changed. Hatha Yoga, we will see, came very later on when I discussed in that class also. Hatha Yoga, Tantra Yoga, these came later on. Why? Because now people changed, we changed, the environment changed. So now we were not able to control the mind that easily, and we were going more into guilt, right? So suppose if you are not able to, one of the yamas is that speak the truth. Not only speak the truth, truth is one of the yamas, right? Truth on each level. So suppose in our day-to-day life we have to lie sometimes, right? So people were going more into guilt about it. Yeah. So it was doing them a lot of harm. So then Hatha Yoga came in and they said that put aside the yamas and niyamas. Okay, let's start directly from the third limb, asana. And even in asana, they did not mean asana in the sense, even though the Hatha Yoga practices aim for you to like sit in a proper posture only finally for meditation. However, first the body needed to be cleansed, body needed to be strong and stable enough so that you could sit in a posture for a long period of time. So when you go to Hatha Yoga text, you will see a lot of asanas that are introduced over there. And then the Hatha Yoga used to practice these so that stability in the body came, right? And then when there is stability in the body, when you are able to sit, yeah, properly, back straight, spine straight for a long period of time, that is when you can start working on your prana. If the body moves, again, body will move, breath will move, mind will move. So pranayam cannot be practiced. Even pranayam, or practice like pranayam, cannot be, you cannot derive all the benefits if your body is moving. So the Hatha Yogi first, what they aim to do was make the body stable, comfortable in one posture. And that is why whenever you practice Hatha Yoga, you will see there is a lot of like holding in Hatha Yoga. Whenever if you practice Hatha Yoga, traditional Hatha Yoga, you will see that they will give you very limited asanas, and when you do those limited asanas, you are going to hold for a very long period of time. So for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, holding in that asana is what is given in traditional Hatha Yoga school. So right now you are doing a variation of Hatha Yoga only, Ashtanga Vinyas and Vinyas style. These are flow styles. So you keep moving. So suppose you are doing, upward facing dog, then downward facing dog, something like Surya Namaskar flow you are doing, and again. You are moving constantly. So you're not staying in the asana for a very long period of time. Even though when you do the primary series, you do hold for a while, but in Hatha Yoga, the holding is much more than that. So Ashtanga Vinyas, when you do primary series, you will hold. but you won't hold for as long as a hut yogi. When they are doing their practice, their aim is totally different. Their mind is set to a totally different goal. So they will hold for a very long period of time, the same asana, right? So then after their asana becomes, they become established in the asana. That is, it's only then that you can step into pranayama. Otherwise, you will not be able to practice pranayama that properly, right? So you will keep getting stuck in pranayama practices. And then mudras and bandhas are, they do not even come into question, because once you get established in pranayama, it is only then that you can start locking the energy, right? Directing the energy. First, you prepare the body, then you gain some control over the energy with pranayama, vital force, and then you begin to direct that energy, which is done by mudras and bandhas. So step by step process. Once again, see, it's a very step by step process, like proper step by step process that has been given. If you cannot control your prana, sorry, if you cannot, in pranayama, if you cannot gain control over your prana, there is no way in which you can direct it, right? It is a very simple thing. If I do not have control of something, I will not be able to give it direction, right? So same thing, first get established in pranayama, perfect it. That is when you will be able to move to a stage where you can direct that prana to different body parts, to channel it properly and to avoid it from escaping the body. And then other practices are also given, which start merging with Raj Yoga practices. So one of the major Hatha yogic texts is Hatha Yoga. This is a very major Hatha yogic text, and when you see this, it starts with asana once again. So first chapter is asana. Then you go to pranayam. So in the beginning of the pranayam chapter, Shatkarma is introduced. So after asana, Shatkarma is introduced over here in this text, and it is very clearly mentioned that if you are three doshas, in your Ayurveda classes you would have studied Vat, Pitta, and Kapha. If your three doshas are not balanced, it's only then that you practice Shatkarma. Otherwise, there is no need to go into the practice of Shatkarma. Yeah, cleansing practices, there is no need. So if your Vata, Pitta, and Kapha balance, you can directly move to pranayam practices. Then pranayam, second chapter, pranayam has been given, right? After that, mudra and bandh. Third chapter is mudra and bandh, right? And you do not need to know this. I'm just telling you an overall, like I'm giving you the structure of the text, because I'm trying to explain what is happening. Why, there is a set procedure when you see even Hatha practices. And then the last chapter is Nada Anusandhan. And this chapter is the one which, then begins to merge with Raj Yogic practices, where, mind is the main thing. Working on the mind becomes the main thing. So these are 4 chapters in Hatha Yoga, and this is one of the major texts that you consult when you, work with Hatha Yoga or try to understand what Hatha Yoga is, right? And after this, one more major text that came in was 𝐾𝐚𝐲-𝟔. So Hatha Yoga in the beginning of this book only, the writer makes it very clear that Hatha Yoga needs to be practiced only for development in Raj Yoga, and there is no other purpose. So if you are stuck in asanas, you will find a lot of people who are stuck in asana practice. They want to achieve this asana, this asana, this asana. Everybody wants to do headstand, handstand, full split, all of these things. So you're getting stuck in just the first part of Hatha Yoga. So make sure that whenever you are practicing, your asana part, whenever you're practicing, you have a big goal in your mind. There is a very big goal in the mind where your major concern is that you are going to work, towards the meditation. That is why meditation classes are very important, because all the other work, yoga philosophy classes, Ayurveda classes, anatomy, everything is pushing you towards only one thing, and that is meditation, because that is literally the only way, right? So everything, pranayam, do not get stuck in pranayam that I'm going to achieve this much length of holding the breath, or my inhalation will become this long. It's not bad to set a target, however don't get stuck there, right? So eventually, as you keep working, all of these things are bound to happen, right? When you work on pranayam, your breath is going to become very stable, it's going to become very controlled. But do not get stuck in numbers, do not get stuck in postures, how your body is, because the main aim of practicing all of this is so that you can sit for a long period of time in meditation. You can move towards meditation. That is your goal. Your goal is to be free from all suffering, right? Why just target one? Why just target the suffering of the body? You have the mind as well. So you want to be free from all suffering. That is why you're practicing all of this. You don't want to be free from just disease. You don't want to be free from just one aspect of your life, right? You want to be free from all the sufferings. So change the intention of your yogic practices, because when your intention and target changes, the way in which you do it also changes. Now you'll be giving more time to your body. Some people place a lot of timelines when they want to achieve asanas. I'm specifically discussing this because it's very common that this thing happens. People set targets that in 1 month, I'm going to achieve this. No, listen to your body. That is what yoga is saying. Listen to yourself, how you want to move, how you move from one asana to the other, and how you breathe during that time. It's so important to observe this. That is when you will start seeing the connection of your mind, your breath, your body. All of these work in sync. They can work in sync. For us, they don't, but they have the ability to. And that is what you're trying to achieve. You're not trying to achieve some headstand, not trying to achieve some, those are things that gymnastics, if for that you could have joined some gymnastic class, right? If you were just focused on the stability of your body, the flexibility of your body. No, you're not. When you come to yoga, when people come to yoga, they're looking for something, you know, they're looking for something which gives them peace, and that is how you begin, because asana practice is the one that you connect with the most right now. So that is how you're going to change your intention. You're going to change each movement, each goal, each intention, and incorporate that piece even in asana part, how you breathe and move. So be very careful when you are doing your classes, because sometimes we see others practicing and their flexibility is too good. So we start feeling that we need to become that way, right? We need to achieve that body posture, but that's entirely not the aim. When you are doing this, the aim is totally different. So become aware of these things. It will help you to drastically change your practice, the way in which you show up on your mat. Your dedication, your faith is going to change completely. The day you experience what asanas are, the way in which you show up on the mat also changes, because now you're not, you're listening to your body, you're connected to your body. When we overstretch ourselves, some students, they come after class and after a few days they experience a lot of pain. Yes, as a part of opening up the body, yes, the body is going to experience some pain, but sometimes you overstretch yourself and you know the difference. You know what I'm talking about. So you get disconnected from the body the moment you do that. So you're not practicing yoga. Yoga is all about gaining that connection with the body. So the day you overstretch yourself, understand that you were disconnected from your practice. You're not aiming for this. You're aiming for that connection, right? So when you come into yoga, be very careful what you are looking for, right? So then next text that came in was 𝐾𝐚𝐲-𝟔. Once again, this text starts with Shatkar. because now as the time changed, this one came after Hatha. So Hatha Pradipika, right? So this one came a few years later. So now environment changed, people changed. So same level, achieving the same level required more practices. So we'll see there are 7 chapters in this book. Here there were 4. Now there are 7, right? And you start with Chakrama. So he understood that it was very essential to clean the body first. We said that at this point of time, it's very important that first the person who is coming into yoga needs to go deeply into the cleansing practices. Then they come to asana. Then other chapters have been given. So there are total of 7 chapters that you will find in this book as well. And once again, after a while, they start merging with Rajyogic practices. So, there is a chapter of Dhyan or meditation also in this book. So, eventually, it again starts to merge with the Rajyogic practices. So, Hatha Yoga and Raj Yoga go together. They are not separate from each other. They are not supposed to be practiced as a separate with separate goals. They merge into one. So always keep this thing in mind whenever you are practicing, no matter which practice you are, right? So all of your classes are leading you towards only one class, which is a meditation class. Because you will see the impact of your asana practice when you will sit in your meditation class. Now with the asana practice, you will yourself observe with these 28 days passing by. You will also be able to sit more stably in the meditation class. Yeah. So do not miss your meditation classes at all, right? Those are more very important classes for you. You're preparing for that, right? So any questions in any of this? Little bit understanding of what Hatha Yoga is. So it's attaining a balance between her and her, Lila and Pingla Nadi, right? All of the practices you will see are towards it. Okay, so if you have no doubts, let's close our session. Right? You guys can read up more about it if this topic interests you. These are 2 texts that I have mentioned for you guys. So whenever you find time, you can go ahead and look for these texts and see what has been written. There are a lot of translations, a lot of schools that have translated into English, Hindi, both. So whichever language you are comfortable with. And if you're comfortable with Hindi, I would recommend that you go for Hindi translation. But if you are comfortable with English, go for English translation. You will find both books and both translations. But originally, they were written in Sanskrit. Okay? So
who has written that?
Which one?
Is the all came from Patanjali?
No. This
No,
is
so,
not Patanjali.
So who has written all these? Is it one person written it or different people wrote it?
Yeah, so Hatha Pradipika is written by Swami Satyanand. No. Swatma Ramji. Yeah, Swatma Ramji. Yeah, Swami Swatma Ram.
So
And
different people has written.
yeah,
Okay.
𝐾𝐚𝐲 Samhita is written by Rishi 𝐾𝐚𝐲.
Okay.
Different. That is why 2 different books, 2 different times. These
Okay.
are from 2 different timelines, but now you will find them first, both of them, different authors.
Okay.
All right, so let's close today's class. Yeah, back next straight. Then we close the eyes. Start observing the breath. We'll chant in 1 time, followed by 3 shantis. Inhale deeply for Om. Shanti. join both the palms together in front of the chest and bow down. Let's begin the day by feeling gratitude for everything we have. Up with the palms together. Press them on the chest. Slowly while blinking and looking at the palms, open up the eyes, come back to the smile. So all for your pranayama class in the evening. Right?
So what is the importance of rubbing the hand and putting that in the eyes?
See, when you close the eyes are not, you never directly open the eyes because light, again, your eyes will get harmed if you directly open the eyes. So we rub the palms together, right? And then the heat that is generated when you place your hands, forming a cup shape of your hands on your eyes. So, it prepares the eyes, the heat. And then if you feel like it, you can open and close the eyes inside of you. Very slowly while blinking, and then you look at the palms. You don't directly look straight, you just look at the palms and then you open up the eyes. So eyes are able to open easily, right? No direct exposure of light.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.